Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever in the world you're joining us from. Welcome to our mental health awareness series. Now, my name is Sherika Anderson, and I'm the CEO of iEvolve Global, and I'm truly happy to have you here with me tonight. Listen, we are in for a treat. Now, May is recognized as Mental Health Awareness Month. And throughout this month, we will be hosting weekly sessions aimed at increasing awareness, encouraging conversations, and helping persons better understand mental health and emotional well being. All right? It is important to note that these sessions are educational in nature. That means they are designed to create awareness and provide information, but they do not provide diagnosis or replace professional assessment or treatment. Okay? So don't leave here and say, I am diagnosing so and so, or I am diagnosed with this and that. That is not our intent. Now, before we continue, I want to encourage you to like, to share, and to subscribe. Go ahead. Share this link with someone who may need this information. Listen, you never know who may be silently struggling and simply needs access to the right conversation, support, and awareness. In fact, tonight we are talking about behind the smile, children, trauma, and mental wellness. So guess what? All of us can benefit, whether we are parent, caregivers, auntie, cousin, niece, brother, sister, all of us can benefit. So just take a minute and go ahead and tell somebody it's starting now and you don't want to miss this very important conversation. So just take a minute, go ahead, share it, send the link to somebody. Let me do it. See, I'm taking up my phone. I'm going to share the link with somebody right now because I know that somebody out there need this information. So go ahead and share it. Go right ahead and share it. It not take long. Just take 1 minute to do it, or 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, or four, whatever it is. Well, let's just pause and do it right now. See, I'm doing it. You can do it too. Go right ahead. Almost finished. Almost finished. Almost finished. Almost there. All right, there. I shared it. Did you share it yet? You stopped and you shared it? Okay. Awesome. Because you know you're part of my marketing team, right? So you just have to get the word out there. All right, we are going to jump right in, but first, let me shout out Mr. Jovan Walker. I'm seeing him in the chat, right? I'm seeing him. Big up yourself, Mr. Jovan Walker. Thank you for being a part of our conversation this evening. All right, let's jump right in because time is of the essence. We are discussing a topic that is often hidden behind behavior, silence, anger, or even a smile. We're talking about children's mental health. Many children are carrying emotional pain, trauma, anxiety, and stress that adults may not always recognize. This presentation will help us to better understand the impact of trauma on children and how we, as parents, teachers, churches, and communities, can support their healing and their well being. See, I told you, it's gonna be good. Now, let's talk a minute about what we have been seeing: increased violence among children, poor conflict resolution skill. We see our children demonstrating anger, extreme anger, or losing their temper easily. We see They're often arguing with adults or refusing to comply with adults' rules and requests. They may be resentful or spiteful. They may be deliberately annoying others or becoming annoyed with others. Or we see them often blaming other people for their own mistakes and misbehavior. So there's a general thought out there, where say the pit them just rude and disruptive, them not have nothing about them. But I submit to us tonight that there is more to it than that. It's not just that. I want to introduce you to little Johnny. And as I read, I want you to think about Johnny, if you know Johnny. Or how many Johnnies do you know? So Johnny was brought up into a single parent household. Johnny brought home another letter inviting his mother to come in. This was after he was given other punishments. He was sent home from school last month. He frequented the dean's office for bad behavior and is known by all the teachers for behavioral issues. His form teacher complains that he displays high aggression. He is easily irritated and he has no regard for authority. He bullies other students and rarely completes assigned tasks. His mother is upset that Johnny keeps misbehaving and worries about his future. Johnny's father was never a part of his life. His mother tries her very best to raise Johnny and his other siblings, but fears that she might be failing them. She expressed that Johnny is just disgusting and rude and take off and pooper. At 11 years old, she is fed up with his mannerism. Do you know Johnny? Or how many Johnnies do you know? Or can I take it a bit further to ask, are you Johnny? The truth is, Johnny is just one of several children who are dealing with mental illnesses. A 2014 study of 1,185 adolescents in Jamaica found that approximately 15% displayed depression and anxiety symptoms. 120,000 children in Jamaica could be living with mental illness. Guess what? Only 5% of kids are being given the intervention they desperately need. Among the 10 to 19 age group, about 70,000 of them might have a mental disorder. And it gets even worse. 25,000 might have a serious mental disorder. In the younger age group, 45,000 might have a mental disorder. 15,000 might have a serious mental disorder. And this was shared by Dr. Shetty, who works for years in the child guidance clinic. So I know you're listening and you're saying, but this statistics is from 2014. So that sounds very long. And I agree with you. But it also gives us an idea of what's happening. So I tried to find something a little bit more recent. According to WHO, 1 in 7 adolescents globally experience a mental disorder. So if you have 7 adolescents in a space, 1 out of 7 experiences a mental disorder. Not only that, but mental disorders account for approximately 15% of the global burden of disease among adolescents 10 to 19 years old. And these statistics are recent. Half of the mental health conditions begin before 18, and many begin before the age of 14. Hear this. Suicide is the third leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 29 globally. Worldwide, 8% of children and 15% of adolescents experience a mental disorder, yet many never receive help or treatment. 4 in 10 young people said they needed mental health support. So if you have 10 of them in a room, 4 out of the 10 said, yeah, I need help. So as I share these statistics with you, I want you to realize that, hey, this is serious business, right? Or children or teenagers are in need of psychological support. Now, let's look on the causes of mental health issues among children. And of course, there are many causes, many school of thought, so I'll just be discussing a few with us. Number one, genetics or heredity. Some mental health conditions can run in families. What this means is that a child may be more likely to experience challenges with anxiety, depression, ADHD, or bipolar disorder if close relatives also struggle with it, right? For example, if a parent has severe anxiety, that child may have a higher chance of developing anxiety too. Okay? But it's important for us to know that genetics may increase risk, but it does not guarantee a child will develop a mental health condition. So the first one is what? The first one is genetics. The second one is biology. A child's brain and body chemistry also affect their mental health. I want you to think about, some females around a particular time of the month. Oh, they are extra emotional and extra irrational and extra illogical around certain time of the month, right? Guess why? Because hormones are affecting them. Similarly, things like hormones, brain development, neurotransmitters, illness can influence emotions and behavior in children. Follow? Yes. So biology plays an important part when we are discussing the cause of mental illness in our children. Now, this helps us to understand that mental health or mental illness is not just emotional. It also involves the brain and the body. Now let's jump to the environmental factors. A child's surroundings strongly shape their mental and emotional well-being. Yeah? So the environment that the child is raised in actually impact their mental health. So stressful or unhealthy environments can negatively affect the children's mental health. So when you see the child acting out, I want you to just pause for a little and have a conversation with them to find out what's happening at home. So if they're in environments where there's family conflict or bullying or violence, academic pressure, social media influence, lack of support, these things can affect the child's mental health. Now, a child who is constantly exposed to shouting, instability, or criticism may become anxious or withdrawn. And if there's no intervention, this child may then go on to develop the actual mental health disorder. And finally, we have psychological trauma. Trauma refers to deeply distressing experiences that overwhelm the child emotionally. That's a very simple definition. Children don't always process difficult experiences the same way adults do. Now, I want you to think about you and just how hard it is sometimes to express what you are feeling or to process your experiences. Imagine a child. There's so many times I've asked grown adults, how do you feel? And I hear, boy, makes me feel a way. And me I say, Okay, but help me understand. What do you mean when you say you feel aware? Because sometimes we don't have language to express what we are feeling. We don't have language to process, right? What we are experiencing. How much more the little children? And they're feeling these big emotions. They're feeling anger and pain, and they don't know how to say, Mommy, I'm hurting. Daddy, I'm hurting. Uncle, I'm hurting. They don't know, right? So, those are four things that can contribute to mental illness in our children. But I want to spend the rest of our conversation tonight to talk about trauma because I find that we don't talk about trauma enough. And I want to share with you something, a study that was done. The Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. And this study was done to assess the association between childhood maltreatment and life health and well-being. It's an old study. It was done from 1995 to 1997. But what this study showed us is that two-thirds, so that is 66%, or if you have three persons in a room, two of that three-person had been exposed to at least one adverse childhood experiences. Don't worry, I soon tell you what they are. Nearly 40% of the participants had been exposed to two or more of the different categories. 12.5% reported exposure to at least four categories. So, what are these categories? I'm happy you asked. One, emotional abuse. Two, physical abuse. Three, sexual abuse. Four, neglect or abandonment. Then you have five, divorce. Then family violence. Then alcoholism or other addiction, substance use and misuse, poverty, homelessness, lack of food and basic needs, a family member with mental illness, or a family member in prison. Right? So these are the different categories. So what the research showed us is that two out of three persons, so if three of us stand up one place, two of us experience one of those things that I just called. And it gets worse. 4 in 10 persons had been exposed to two or more of the different categories. So that means that you may have somebody who, you may have four persons who was exposed to emotional abuse and sexual abuse. But whatever the combination, it shows us that adverse childhood experiences were common, very common. Now, let's talk about the effects of trauma because trauma has some serious implication. Trauma at any age can affect the brain and result in changes in behavior and responses to life experiences. All right? So, any age it happen, it can affect the brain and it impact behavior and how we respond to life. Cool? Now, hear this. Trauma impacts the part of the brain responsible for connecting behaviors and consequences, problem solving, and impulse control. Now, let's jump back because we have been hearing the news. For those of us who lives in Jamaica, we have been hearing the news of the different violence in school. And many of us, it just don't make no sense to us. We just can't wrap our minds around it. We can't understand how somebody would offend another student, and when school is over, that student left, went to a nearby store or shop, buy a knife and go back to attack the student. It shows that there's a disconnect between behavior and consequences. They're not processing it well. So we are seeing that our children who have experienced trauma, They are not connecting behaviors and consequences. And that's why sometimes you wonder like how you can do that? How that could not even happen? You realize that it's almost as if there's a deficit when it comes on to problem solving skill. So because you can't solve a problem, we just fight it out. We just beat you up and go about my business. Because trauma impact the part of the brain that is responsible for problem solving. There's also difficulty learning. It is said that illiteracy is at an all-time high. So we are not seeing the literacy level where it should be. Not only that, trauma also causes distrust in those in authority, and it causes persons to be to have difficulty building relationship with peers. So also one of the things that we are finding concerning now is that people people or children, they are not forming lasting friendship again. The friendship is with the tablets and the laptop and other devices and the cell phone, right? Yes, it applies to children. Not only children, trauma affects every age group, eh? We're also seeing the misuse of substance and engaging in high-risk behaviors to relieve feelings of guilt, shame, anxiety, and depression. So to kind of cope with the different feelings that they're having, they turn to substances. And finally, poor executive functioning. And as was said before, decision making skills. So many times we're looking at and we're saying, but this don't make no sense. How A plus B equals C? How 2 plus 2 equal 10? The math not mathing. What we are realizing is that when persons experience trauma, it affects the major functioning, the executive functioning. So you can look on and you can say, no, say, Giovanna get on top of my nerves and I really just want do him something. But if me do him something, then I'll have to deal with the consequences and I might end up go prison, right? So you sit down and you reason out the thing. But for our children who have experienced trauma, it's not quite the case. Now, if left unaddressed, these continue into adulthood, right? So it doesn't stay just in childhood. Now, let's look at our Jamaican reality. And I mean, you can help me. When we talk about emotional abuse, would you say that's high or low? High, not true? When you think about physical abuse, would you say that's high or low? High, all right. When you think about sexual abuse, is that high or low? High. When you think about neglect or abandonment, is that high or low? High. When we think about poverty, homelessness, lack of food and basic needs, high or low? High again, right? Family violence, high. Alcoholism or substance addiction, substance use and misuse, high. Family member with a mental illness, maybe above average or high. So what we are seeing is that the very same conditions that they looked at in the study, we are seeing that they are high in our country, which means that our children are being exposed to them. Right? So many of our children are exposed to many of these indicators, which can then impact their behavior. All right, so I just want to shout out Songbird and Dion and Renee and Mr. Jovan. Thank you for chilling with me. Now, based on what we said thus far, I'm sure you can appreciate my statement that children are just rude and disruptive. So, there's more to it than that. Them not just disgusting, the things that people tend to say about our children. No, there's more to it than that. Now, what are the signs that we should look for? One, constant poor performance at school. Remember, we said that trauma affects certain areas of the brain? Right. So, what you may find is that in spite of the intervention, the child may not be performing at the level that he or she should be performing. Look for aggressive behavior, right? And this aggression can be directed towards other persons, towards things, or towards pets. So you may find that, oh, they don't trouble their siblings because they know say the sibling will beat them up. But they may punch the wall. They may break plates and cups. Or they may kick the dog. Right? So this aggression can be directed towards people, towards things, towards animals. Then look out for if they're avoiding or missing school. Yeah? Don't want to go to school. Wait them up for them to go to school and them ball on the place because they don't want to go. Or if you send them go hide somewhere. Also, look out for persistent sadness. So no matter what's happening, they just don't look happy. They just look sad. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to sleeping issues. So they may have a challenge falling asleep. They may have a challenge staying asleep. So they may wake up multiple times throughout the night. Or they may be oversleeping. Or you may notice that they're having nightmares. So these are things that you look out for. Additionally, are they complaining of aches and pains? Headache, backache, all kind of ache. Pay attention to frequent complaints of physical symptoms. Now, there may also be weight loss or weight gain. It can go either way. So you may notice increase in appetite or loss of appetite. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to any drastic change in mood, behavior, or personality. I've had parents say to me, Miss Anderson, them just miserable. And every minute the mood change. This minute we are ramp and a play and a watch TV together, and the next minute they not even want me say hello to them. Rapid fluctuation in mood, right? Changes in behavior, changes in personality. Sometimes you may be wondering if it's the same pitney this or if it's the same niece, because just last week she was just so warm and nice and kind, and this week she bakes with the world. Pay attention to drastic changes. Also, look out if you're noticing excessive worrying or anxiety. And the last one that I'll mention is loss of interest in friends or social interaction. So they don't want to be around people. They want to stay in their room, stay on their tablet. They don't want to go to the park. They don't want to go play football again. They are losing interest in things they would normally enjoy. So those are some of the things that you can look out for. So now that I tell you the signs, what can we do? Because after listening, I realize that, hey, maybe I really know Johnny for true. Or maybe I know some Johnnies. Or maybe I am Johnny, right? So what can you do? All right, if there are any children listening, the first thing I'll say to you is it is just as important to take care of your mental health as it is to take care of your physical health. So same way how you take care of your physical health, take care of your mental health too. If you're angry, worried, or sad, don't be afraid to talk about your feelings and reach out to a trusted friend, or adults. Don't be afraid. All right? Call up Uncle Jovan. Call up Auntie Diane. Call up Uncle Pastor Davis. Call somebody and get the help that you need. Right? Now, for our parents and caregivers, you now for parents, talk to your child's healthcare professional if you have concerns about the way your child behaves at home, in school, or with friends. Right? Don't sit down with it and say, Lord, me shame to talk about it. Me can't tell nobody this. No, talk up so you can get the help that you need. Also, set up protective factors at home. Create a safe environment, man. Let it be that your child want to come home when school done. They don't want to stay on the road and idle because home is such a safe haven. Make time to talk to them. And your presence is more important than the presents that you can buy. Yeah? I want you to think about that. Additionally, parents, listen. Listen when they do talk to you. Don't allow your emotions to get involved. You know, the child said, Mommy, you hurt my feeling when you talk to me like that the other day. Nobody rile up and say, what you mean by me hurt your feeling? You're pitney, what you know about hurt feelings? You're lucky. They'll never talk to you again. They won't open up again. Now, if you realize that you're trying and you're not getting anywhere, you don't know what's going on, you can maybe get a piece of paper and draw three faces: a sad one that is angry, one that is happy, and you can ask them which one of these represent how you feel. So you can also use art and creativity to interact with children so that you can get an understanding of what they are dealing with. Okay? Let's talk to the church and the faith community now. The church can create a safe, loving, and non judgmental environment where children and families feel supported emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So while we are big on the spiritual side of things, we want to also cater to the emotional, the mental side of individuals too. The word non judgmental is important. None of us want to be judged. None of us want to feel like persons are criticizing me. So it's important that we are non judgmental. It's important that we are loving. It's important that we are safe, right? As a church family. What else can the church do? The church can also educate members about mental health. So invite us to come and talk to your people. Invite us to come and do a presentation. Reach out to iVolve Global or any other mental health facility and ask them if they can come in and they can do a session. Churches can also encourage open conversations. Ask the question. You see somebody look sad, ask them, you all right? And if them tell you yes, say you all right for true. Ask the question. We can also provide mentorship and we can pray with families. And most importantly, we can connect persons to professional help when needed. Yeah? Because you may know where to go. You may know where to tell mommy to go and tell daddy to go. Persons may not know. But you may know and can connect them with the resources that they need. The church should be a place of healing, hope, and community support. Not a place that is going to cause persons to be ashamed or feel silenced. That's not what we want. Yeah? If you have any question, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We're coming to your questions shortly. Now, where can you find help? We have child guidance clinic across the island. Now, before you tell me, let me tell you. I know we don't have enough. I know we don't have enough resources. But guess what? The little that we do have, try to capitalize on it. Try to use it so that your children can benefit. There's also the family court. You don't know what else to do? Just go down to the family court and explain your problem. Tell them what's going on. Don't allow your pride to hinder you. CPFSA, formerly CDA, you can also look up them now online and call them and explain what you're noticing with your child and tell them, say, you need help. Too many of us sit down with our children and we don't do enough. We don't do enough. There's also private counseling facilities. And before you tell me that you don't have no money, bet you say if they needed to go to the pediatrician, you carry them. If they needed to go do a surgery, you carry them. Anything with their physical health, you will act. Them have toothache, you carry them to the dentist. They need glasses, you carry them to get glasses. But when it's a psychological problem, man, no sir, them depend them one. I'm encouraging you to change that. I'm encouraging you. Call a psychologist, call a counselor, and find out how can you get help for your child. Consider it an investment in their future. And I don't remember if I said guidance counselors, so let me say it. And if I say it before, let me say it again. Guidance counselors. Now I know you're going to tell me that the guidance counselors are overworked, overwhelmed, and all of that. But guess what? If you go there and show them, say, hey, I need your help, and shed some tears too because you really need the help and the situation is overwhelming, I'm sure they'll try to assist you. Yeah? So I don't want you to give up on your child. I want you to realize that help is available. And I want you to go and get the help that the children need. You have a responsibility to get them the help that they need. Right? And just to jump back to our parents and our caregivers who may be listening to me, I want you to know that children thrive best when they feel safe, when they feel seen, when they feel heard, when they feel loved, supported, and valued. You hear me? So those things are important. Those things are important. What else you can do to support your children? Remember I said before, listen without judgment. And listen means you're going to be present in the conversation. So they can't be talking to you and you're scrolling on your phone. No, that no work. They're going to shut down. Parents, what else can you do? Create safe conversations. Say, come and talk to me. Tell me what really I want. Monitor screen time. Too many of us sleeping and dreaming while our children are on the devices, not monitored. We have to do better. We need to know what they're looking at. We need to know what they are watching. But they're up watching and we are sleeping. You ever say anything also? So we have to monitor screen time. Spend quality time. Quality time. Quality. Quality is equally as important as quantity. So I know many of you saying, but after me not have no money. I never said nothing about money. I never tell you if you go Panama, if you fly out go Panama with the children. I never said that. If you can do it, fine. Right? Because we want to expose them to new cultures. But I'm saying in your home, buy one popcorn at the supermarket and carry it home. Look for the popcorn and put on one show upon your TV or upon the device and sit down and watch it together and eat the popcorn together. Yeah? You have to be creative in how you do it. You can make a big splash, that's fine. Buy one slice of cake, cut it up, and the two want to eat it together. You can buy anything fancy, buy one two-piece chicken. And when you come home, you eat one piece and them eat one piece. And you be creative. Listen, we can't use the excuse that we don't have money anymore. Things are tough and things are tight, so we have to find creative ways to do it at home. And the final thing that you can do, parent, is model healthy coping skills. I hear so the problem there's sometimes, because when we are stressed, we don't manage it so well. When we're under pressure, we don't manage it so well, and we teach our children the unhealthy coping mechanism. So we don't cope well, they don't see us managing pressure. They don't see us handling the disappointment well. They don't see us managing the emotional pain in a healthy way. So somebody upset us and we cuss them now till tomorrow morning. And when we don't cuss, we start broke up the plate them and all kind of something. So we are not modeling healthy coping skills. And so our children are not learning how to do it. So what can you do on a daily basis? Positive affirmation. Listen, all when you know say there's still room for improvement, still compliment it. When them do something good, compliment it. Wow, you clean your room? Man, in here look like a palace. All when you know say couldn't do better, But guess what? You are celebrating the positive, right? The child get 50 in maths. You really think they shouldn't get 80 still. But you know where they're coming from. Last week it was 20. Celebrate the 50. Let them feel like, yes, you are doing much better. You have to cheer them on physically in the same way how you love when people celebrate you and cheer you on. Trust me, it means the world to your children. Play and creativity are still important. I know it's just tablet and phone and computer and this and that now. But listen, physical activity is important. Get them outside, go run up and down because guess what? When they're active, it will release the happy hormones. Yeah? It releases the happy hormones. Um, Try your very best to limit the toxicity in the environment. We're not going to be perfect, We're not going to get everything right. But guess what? We can do a little bit better. We can do a little bit better to improve the mental health of our children. So, as we conclude tonight, if you have any question, put it in the chat so we can answer it. In conclusion, as we devote this month to recognizing our children, right? Because May is Child's Month and is a big deal. It is important that we start to pay close attention to their mental health. I'm so happy that the theme for this Child's Month is prioritizing our children' mental health. I'm so happy because it is time now for us to intentionally prioritize their mental health. We have to remember that many of our children exist in trauma-provoking environment which affects their minds and their overall emotional and psychological well-being. That's important. The behavioral challenges that we see and that we're seeing can be indicative of mental health issues. We want to remember that children are God's gift to us. Listen, they are prizes that God gives to us. How we treat them is our gift to God. Psalms 127 says, children are a gift from the Lord. So that same one where you say, bad and worthless and not come to nothing, is a gift from the Lord. And how you treat him is your gift to God. And sometimes we forget how we bawl and cry to God for that child. And now we are not honoring our end of the bargain. So I don't see any questions. So as we close, I want to remind you that awareness without action does not lead to change. It is one thing to recognize the signs in your children, but it's another thing to take intentional steps towards healing, support, and emotional well being. So, tonight I want to encourage you to take action to improve your child's mental health. Do it now, do it today. Talk to your pastor, talk to a trusted friend, talk to a mentor, or consider speaking with a counselor or a mental health professional. And I have some good news for you tonight. The flyer is on the screen. At iVolve Global, we are currently running a special initiative called 5 for 25, where you can access 5 counseling sessions for just 25,000. That's just $5,000 per session. You are saving big when it comes on to this. If you've been considering getting support for your child, this is a great opportunity. This is a great point to begin. Before you leave tonight, remember to like, to share, and subscribe. And invite somebody next week. Next week is the last of our series. And next week, we're going to be talking about mental health and the church. So make sure next week you invite out somebody so that we can have a conversation together about the church and mental health. Remember, I'm Sherika Anderson, the CEO of iVolve Global, and it was my pleasure to share with you this evening. Thank you and see you next week. Bye bye.